What is going on, everyone? Mega here from Mega Exam Research Openings, and welcome to another game design tutorial video. The links are all in the description. And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification button to receive updates when I post new videos. And you can follow me on Twitter. The links are all in the descriptions. Now, in the previous video, we got started on some basic texturing, and I did a couple of things off screen. Firstly, I added some more seams to our walls here, which we textured in the previous video, because by adding some more seams to our walls, it separates the glass from our windows, from our walls, which will make it easier to texture this. And also, I also changed the color of the walls, because I noticed that the color that I chose to texture these walls was the same exact color that Maya uses for when you select an object, and I made it a bit darker so it's not confusing, so it's not confusing me as I'm working in this. And so now in this video we're going to be working in the Arnold renderer, and we're going to be doing a UV texture. Now, what is a UV texture? A UV texture is basically when you take a 2D image and tell Maya how to apply it to your object using what's called a UV map. Now, UV mapping can be a bit complicated, but Maya has some built-in settings for you to work with for UV mapping. First off, you have like four different settings, and then you have your UV editor. The first settings that you have is your planar mapping. Next, you have your cylindrical mapping. After that, you have your spherical mapping, and then you have your automatic. Typically, I like to stick with the automatic. If that doesn't work, then I'll go to my other settings. But if nothing's working, then I'll use my UV editor, because the UV editor you have a lot of control in. But I typically like to try to not use the UV editor, because it is time consuming and can get a bit complicated. And before we continue, let me just deselect that. Sorry about that. Okay, and so now to start, we're going to create a texture for our window frame by creating a UV map. It sounds complicated, but it actually really isn't that complicated. It's actually not going to take that long. So first off, let's go over to our hyper shader, and we're going to open up an Arnold shader and create an AI standard surface shader. And next we're gonna, oops, let me just fix this really quick. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, now with our AI standard surface shader selected, I'm just gonna move this into place, and so I can see it better. And before we create our shader, I'm actually going to rename this to window frame, so I know what it is. Okay, and next we're going to go down to our base settings and go to color and click on the checker box icon. And we're gonna go over to file. And you're going to see a full folder icon now. So you're going to click on the folder icon, and you're going to go, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to scroll down until I see the texture that I downloaded, which is a marble texture. And once you open it, you've created your texture. We're not going to need to edit anything else for this texture, so we're ready to apply this texture. So next, once you have your texture created, we're going to minimize our hyper shader. Okay, and now we're going to zoom in a bit so we can see see what we're doing. And I'm gonna just select the entire thing and deselect my glass area, so I don't apply the texture to the wrong area, because the glass is going to be separate from our window frame. And let's see if we can do it for this one also. Nope, it's not anyway. Okay, to save time, I'll just do it for one. Okay, and so next we're gonna, with our window frame selected, we're gonna right click, holding on to right click, and we're gonna go down to assign existing material, and once you're over your window frame texture, you're gonna just release your mouse button, and that's gonna apply the texture. Now, sometimes when you do a UV texture, some areas will come out stretched, and that's when you mess with your settings a bit, with your UV settings. But I don't think this time I'll have to do it, because I'm not seeing any that are stretched. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm actually going to leave this as is, which is very rare. Normally, I would have to mess with my settings. This is actually the first time that I haven't had to mess with my settings. Okay, and so next, we're going to create our own AI standard surface shader. Like, we're going to create our own shader actually, because Maya doesn't have a glass shader. It has settings for glass shaders, but you actually have to make it yourself. So we're going to go to our node shaders and create an AI standard surface. And I'm going to quickly rename this to glass, so I know what it is. Okay, and I'm going to decrease the weight all the way down to 0, the color, make it decrease it all the way to black. The specular we're going to leave as is. The only thing I'm going to change is the roughness, because the higher the roughness, the more the glass will look like frosted glass, which I don't want. I just want like a clean glass, so I'm just going to drop that down a bit. And now we're going to go down to transmission, and by default it's set to 0, so I'm going to bump it up all the way. And now we have our glass shader created. And so now we're just going to select all of the glass areas in our object. And I have glass on two sides on both sides of the object of this scene, I mean. So I'm going to select everything. So this is going to take a bit of time. Okay, that's one side done. So now we're going to go on the other side. If I could just get there. Okay, and here's our other side. And I'm just going to select our glass areas. We have like a door and like a window. So I'm going to select these. These I'm going to leave as is, because that's not a window. Select right there. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. And now the next one is over here. Okay, and now with all our glass areas selected, we're going to hold on to right click, go down to assign existing material, and release on when we're hovering over glass. And now we have our glass shaders created. And so next we're going to add some lights to this scene. So normally I would, if I was going to add this into Unity, I would close this off. But since this is just, this version is just to render, I'm going to leave this open, because it makes it easier to render it if you leave it open. Because for interior lighting, it's a bit more complicated to render than exterior lighting. So since I'm gonna try and we're gonna do a couple of renders, one with it like open and one with it without, and so you can see the difference. So I'm gonna go to my Arnold lights and create a Skydome light. And next we're gonna go on the other side. As you can see, our Skydome light doesn't completely cover our object, so I'm gonna have to create some lights on this side. So I'm gonna go to create lights, area light, and I'm gonna try and move this over. And what is happening? Oh no, that's not what I want. Okay, there we go. And let's move this up a bit. Let's increase the size of this so we can see it. And let's mess with the rotation. Nope, that's not the way I want it. There we go. Okay, and let's move this into place. And now I'm going to decrease the size. Let's make it a little bit smaller like that, because we want it to be like how it is, how the size of the window. And now I'm going to duplicate it. And do the same thing for all the windows. Gonna duplicate it and like just resize it accordingly and like reposition it if I need to. Yeah, let's decrease the size of this a bit. Duplicate. And you know what, actually? I'm gonna have to bring these forward a bit because they're not like actually inside the room. I want the light to be going through the glass. Now these lights may not work this first time because I'll go into more detail on interior lighting next time, but I'm just positioning these now so I don't have to do them later, but we're gonna work with these some more in the next video, but yeah, I'm just positioning them for now so I don't have to do it next time. Okay, and now that that's done, we can do our begin our rendering. Just like I said, I'm gonna leave this open because it's gonna make it easier to render. And I'm just gonna bring it over my render view, which I opened up in the off screen, and I'm just gonna do an IPR render in the Arnold renderer, and let's let that finish. Okay, and it seems to be going pretty fast actually. Okay, and it's done. And as you can see, with it open, you get a pretty good scene. But now, if I had added a roof to the scene, it would be a lot more difficult to render this, which is what I'm going to show you next. So let's move this over and bring it over so we can see our area again. And I'm just gonna go over to over here a bit. let me change my view a bit. No, actually, I don't need to change my view yet. Now, yeah, I'm just gonna go to edge mode and now I'll change my view. Okay, and now I'm just gonna select these edges. I mean, once those are selected, gotta go to extrude, and just bring these over. So we can create a roof. And once it's almost there, we're gonna just merge these vertices. You'll notice that on this side it's not perfectly merged, but that's okay because this is just to show you. And I'll also save just to be safe. So I'm just gonna merge these vertices to create a roof. Okay, and as you can see, it's not perfectly merged, but we're just gonna leave that as is. It's not letting me merge it, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. Okay, and so next we're gonna go over to our area lights and bring that up all the way. The intensity all the way, and I'm gonna make the exposure on all of them 5 so it's an even distribution of light. So yeah, just do that really quick. As I said, I'm not really going to be using these lights. I'm just doing this so that I don't have to do it next time. Since we're going to be talking about interior lighting next time, which is a bit more complicated actually, as I mentioned. Yeah, just a couple more, and just one more. Okay, with that done, we can now do another render to show you how much different it is with a roof. And there we go. And as you can see, it's very dark now because of the roof. So yeah, when you're just doing like a scene for just rendering purposes, and it's an interior scene, I like to keep an area open so I can use my Skydome light, because it makes it a lot easier to render. But yeah. So like, if you're now, obviously, as I said, I'm going to be moving this mesh into this FBX into Unity later. So when I'm ready to do that, I'm going to re-add the roof. But since this version is just for rendering purposes, I'm going to stick with my Skydome light, and I'm also going to delete my area lights. Yeah, my area lights. No, actually, I'm leaving my area lights. Yeah. So as you can see, it's a lot more complicated to render an interior scene when it's all closed off. So that's my number one tip for you is that when you're working with if you're just making something for rendering purposes and you're not going to use it for like a game or anything, it's okay to leave an area open for renders. Yeah, and so let's do another render so you can see the difference with it open. And as you can see, with it open, there's a lot more freedom for light to enter the room, and this is another thing with Arnold that it does a really good job of positioning the shadows and stuff. So yeah, we're going to be working with more with Arnold in the next video, which I'm going to be covering interior lighting, and then after that we're basically done with the scene, and we'll be ready to import it into Unity, which is going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, this has been Mega from Mega X Anime's X Openings, and I will see you again next time in the next video for interior lighting. So I'll see you then.